Who is the first and the last in your religion?
By the way, in our religion, Isa dies. Not now, but he dies.
Who's the first and the last in your
Okay, but can I
religion?
just finish? In our religion, Isa dies.
Well, yeah, Allah killed him. I know.
No,
Yes.
Allah doesn't kill him.
Allah does kill him.
Allah doesn't kill him.
Allah does kill him.
Yeah, kill.
Allah takes him up to him, right?
No, he's
How
alive
can you?
at that point.
Huh?
Taking up to him, he's still alive.
How can you go to heaven and be alive in a human body?
Okay, Allah created you.
Well, no, Christ created me.
Allah, he's a Christ's creation.
No, it's not.
No, he's not creation.
Because he is the one who created all things. He has the name above all names, according to the Bible. All authority on earth is subject to him. He is the heir. He is the first and the last. So Jesus Christ was all these things before Allah came around.
That's not true.
It is true.
He had a mother.
Who was the first to claim to be the first and the last? Allah or Jesus?
Does he have a mother?
He had a mother in the
His mother not
incarnation.
before him.
In the incarnation only. But before that, he pre-existed. That's how come he met Abraham and created the
So
world.
he put himself into a womb of a woman.
Yes, yeah,
So
essentially,
the
yes.
perfect
He
being-
took on human
the
flesh.
perfect being
Yep.
has gone into a womb of a woman.
Yes, by taking
Okay,
on flesh.
That's not perfection.
It is.
In Islam, Allah is behind the hijab. He's behind this.
Which is crazy.
Okay, he's behind the sitra.
That doesn't make any sense.
He's behind the sitra, right? The Prophet Muhammad, when he went up to Allah, he just saw light.
Sahih Muslim
He just saw light,
179a.
yeah?
I know
He just saw
that
light,
is.
yes?
Yeah.
That is Allah. That is perfection. Coming into a womb of a mother is a perfection.
I would say that's not perfection.
My guy, is a baby perfect?
Huh?
You were in the womb of a mother.
Yes, I was.
Were you perfect while you were in the womb of your
So,
mother? Or were you in need of your mother?
understand this, right? If God takes on human flesh,
He doesn't.
then because
You know
the
why?
divine essence of God stays with the human flesh,
Is that befitting?
then by extension the human flesh.
Is that befit God?
So
God's majesty.
the befitting majesty thing is a complete fallacy.
Say why it's a fallacy.
Simple. I am alive.
Yeah.
I don't agree with Allah, right? I think he's made up, right? Does it befit Allah's majesty to keep air in my lungs?
That is from his mercy and from his justice.
Okay, so we know that Allah, so in terms of Allah's majesty, getting degraded by me is something that is befitting.
You don't degrade Allah. You know why you don't degrade Allah? Me and you. Okay,
I don't believe it's
I'll tell
God.
you why. Do you believe Allah is above the heavens?
No.
Do you believe that Jesus is above the heavens?
Yeah?
Okay, let's just say Jesus then, for you. But me, I wouldn't call Allah Jesus ever. For you, Jesus. A being who's above the heaven. By the way, do you know how big the universe is? Can you just tell how big the universe is?
Kind of big.
Imagine it, just the universe.
Okay.
We're on planet Earth.
Okay.
In England.
Okay.
We're tiny. You
You
sin.
tell me about that video.
No, forget the video.
Okay.
You sin. You sin. How is your sin affecting the majesty of one that is in the heavens?
So I would not say that sin affects the majesty of God in my concept. Yeah. So in my concept, right? You stated an action such as coming down in the form of a man and claiming that action does not befit His Majesty, right? Now, if that action doesn't befit His Majesty, where is the line to then say that what I am doing and Him still sustaining me befits His Majesty?
Because He sustains you.
Yep.
Because you're a creation of Him. Okay? So He sustains you. He's the sustainer of everybody, even the non-believers.
Okay.
Your disbelief in Him only affects you negatively because when you die, you meet the consequence of that.
But it befits
doesn't
His
affect
Majesty
Him.
to allow me to disbelieve, right?
That's free will. The only
Okay.
free will is
So
different.
I would say if it befits His Majesty to allow me to sin, why can't He also come down here?
Him Himself.
Yep.
Why does you? Okay, this is
Not in Allah's full magnitude, but why can't He join unto Himself the nature of something finite like a human being?
It doesn't befit Allah because we.
But it doesn't say that anywhere. Not in the Hadith, not in the Quran,
It says
nowhere.
in the Quran.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it says that it's not befit Allah. It says وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا. They say Allah has taken a son. Subhana.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the incarnation here, about Allah Himself joining unto Himself a human nature. Why is that unbefitting?
Okay, you believe in the way. Okay, how do you believe that Moses spoke to God?
Face
What
to
is
face?
that? Sorry, face to face.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't believe that. How do you believe that?
Well, if you look at Surah 28, verse 30, and Surah 20, verse 10, in those two instances, Moses is talking to Allah through the burning bush.
That's not face to face.
Well,
face to face.
Allah is calling from the bush, so you can say face to face in an intimate fashion.
Yeah, not face to face. Speaking to Allah. He interacted with Allah in terms
So
of.
when I say face to face, I mean intimately.
No, but that you have to. That word in his face means that he sees Allah.
Okay, fine, intimately.
Yeah, through speech. Allah spoke to him. Okay, that is befitting of His Majesty that Allah spoke to Musa. It's not befitting of Majesty that Allah came and said, "Hello, Moses," in His being.
But how can you tell this?
Okay, because the story when Moses said, "Show me, let me see you,"
And then he appeared behind the mountain.
He came onto the mountain,
And it blew up.
and everybody, yeah.
And then Moses passed out.
Yeah, that is the majesty of Allah. That is Allah. If he came
So,
and saw you,
I was going to point that out actually because technically Allah can enter creation.
I didn't say that. What do you mean? Allah can enter creation.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Allah literally appeared in creation, blew up a mountain, and made Moses pass out.
The creation was destroyed.
The mountain was destroyed, yes.
So how is he bringing creation?
Because he appeared there and the mountain was destroyed as a result. Because don't forget, he said that if this mountain does not get destroyed, you will see me.
It was destroyed though.
Right.
So he did enter creation.
Yeah, right. But implying that if the mountain could withhold the effort of Allah being there, that he would have seen Allah.
The mountains can't even withhold the speech of Allah. They shake.
What,
the Quran.
Isa?
The Quran.
The word of Allah. Isa, right? The kalima
The
too.
speech of Allah is Quran.
And Isa too.
Isa alayhi salam.
Is the kalima too.
Yeah, but that's not the speech of Allah.
It's the word of Allah.
That's not the speech of Allah.
Right, but the word of Allah is the command by which he simply says be and it is, and then things occur.
No, but that's not Isa.
It is Isa.
No, it isn't.
He's called the word in the Quran.
Yeah, but that's not the speech of Allah.
What? Okay, what's the word of Allah?
The word of Allah is the Quran.
But Isa is the word of Allah too.
This is not the word of Allah.
He is the word of Allah.
The word of Allah is the Quran.
So Isa in the Quran is called the Kalimatu Allah.
Okay, that's a title ascribed to Isa, but his word.
He's also called the Spirit of Allah,
Okay, that's
the
not
Ruh
the
Allah.
title. That's
Well,
not the title.
okay, what does it mean? So you know how, like for example, Abraham is called Khalil Allah.
You have to look. You have to look at the Quran as a whole because Quran,
Okay.
Because Isa also says إن خلق عيسى كمثل آدم خلقه من طين ثم قال له كن فيكون. The creation of Isa, Jesus,
Is like
the creation of
Adam.
So if you know that and know this, why you focusing? What you're trying to do is you're trying to confuse me by focusing
I'm
on
not.
specific verses.
Is this a problem?
Focus on specific verses when I've read the entire Quran and in the entire Quran does not bring any type of, except rather it says the opposite. Don't say that Allah is free in da'wah, going to affect somebody who already relies on another intermediary to God.
Like what?
Like maybe like maybe one of their teachers, or like maybe a brave, or like maybe a
Then
righteous person.
I would say, like it says in the book of James, draw close to God and he will draw close to you. I would tell them that there's no need to rely on your sheikh alone, that you yourself have the ability to get to know
Rely on your
God
sheikh,
by
rely on Jesus.
Jesus, exactly.
But you're telling them, don't. You're basically telling them, don't.
No, I'm not. I'm saying rely on God, yes.
You're saying
God's way.
You're giving them what they already do, and you're just replacing their person that they worship.
With God's, yes.
But
Because
in Islam,
people worship
in
money, for
Islam-
example.
In Islam, what it's doing is it's annihilating even the idea that you need an intermediary.
At the cost of your own salvation, which is the problem. It is.
So you think you're going to meet God? Okay, tell
for
me.
example-
You think, okay, all right, bring your example, but do you think I'm going to meet God, having only worshipped God, having only relied on God, and then God will kick me out?
Yes, he will. Because you know why?
Does that make sense?
You're not perfect.
He created me.
But you're not perfect.
He
That's the
created me
problem.
imperfect.
Look at this, for example. So
But
this
he
is
created me perfect. He could have made me an
Matthew
angel.
5:48.
It doesn't make sense. You know what you're saying.
Look at this, right?
You know what you're saying.
It says Matthew 5:48, right? This is Christ talking. We have it in red letters in the Bible, so to let us know when like Christ is talking, right? We just keep it in red to make it easier for us to read and understand what's being said. Christ says this in Matthew 5:48. You therefore must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. So in order for you to attain salvation, you have to be perfect. And in Islam, there is no perfection.
The perfect worshipping a creation.
No, that's
Yes,
not the
what you're
perfection. And I'm telling you that Christ isn't a creation. Christ is the creator of the world. He is.
How can he be created and a creator though?
So he is the creator of the world
And he chose to put himself in the creation.
who joined onto himself a human nature so that he could enter
Doesn't
creation.
befit. Doesn't befit.
Well, you don't get to decide, unfortunately, what befits God.
Because God told us he doesn't befit.
Well,
If I was speaking
it
to
doesn't
you,
say that
okay,
anywhere.
listen, It says that.
So in the Quran, all it mentions is that he's not taking on a son, but it says nothing about him not being able to enter his creation.
It says that he's above the heavens.
Okay, but in the Hadith, he also comes down every night to the lowest heaven to hear our prayers.
Yeah, in heaven.
Yeah, but so technically, the lowest heaven is in creation. It's not outside of creation.
What you're saying, the type of, the reason why this won't work is this type of argument is a type of argument that sadly some deviant Muslim sects adopted, that Allah is a part of creation.
Well, your Sunni hadiths say he comes down.
My belief,
I can show you.
I know that Allah descends to the lowest heaven,
which is
that
creation.
befits His Majesty.
So basically, whatever Allah does, so this idea of majesty, right? It's a bit confusing.
How is it confusing?
Is majesty any action that Allah does? So if Allah didn't appear here as a dragon, would you have to say, oh, that befits His Majesty because He's done the action?
Allah wouldn't appear as a dragon.
No, but basically, what I'm hearing from you is that whatever He does befits His Majesty. There's not a hard set rule of what He can and cannot do.
He can do everything, but He only does
Because,
what befits His Majesty.
for example, there's a hadith about the day of resurrection and how Allah will come to the believers in a form that they understand. Yeah, in a form that they understand, and He will show them His shin, and then they will know who He is. Does it befit Allah to show us His
By
shin?
the way, in that hadith, where you would fall in is much earlier when it said the Christians would follow what they worship, the cross, and where awadhum an-nar, into hellfire. Why into hellfire? Is Jesus going to hellfire? He isn't. Isa alayhi salam, he's not going to hellfire.
Well, He's God, so
Isa is not God.
He's already been anyway.
Isa is not God.
He is.
He's not God.
He is. He has to be.
doesn't say He was God.
He says it right here. This is Revelations 1:17. This is Him talking again in the red.
God, the reason why I don't like using the word God, you throw it about loosely. Jesus is God, this person's God, that person's God, that person's God.
Fear not.
Allah is not
No, we
like the
don't.
Father.
We only use it for the Father and Spirit. Here, look at this. Fear not. I am the first and the last. I am the living one. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore. I have the keys of death and Hades. Write, therefore, the things that you have seen, those
Why is it calling hellfire Hades?
Huh?
Why is it calling hellfire Hades?
Greek, that's all.
Do you know that's paganism?
Well, it's a Greek word
But
for hell, same idea.
Yeah, but do you know that following, basically, if you follow the tradition of the people, you can become like that people.
Right, but we don't because we follow Christ, right?
Yeah, but
so,
why is it saying that?
as you can see right here,
Nar Jahannam is not a word that is used by the pagans. Right? They don't say Jahannam.
I mean, it's just taken from Hebrew.
It's not. Nar
It
means
is.
fire. Jahannam, Jahim is taken from
It's the same thing is in Hebrew.
And the Jews were worshippers of pagans. They weren't.
Well, you
Now,
claim
listen,
that there
the
was
Greeks-
Tawhid in the Old
the
Testament.
Greeks that say-
so you're focusing on the wrong thing here.
No, but do you know why I'm doing that?
Because technically,
You know I'm
we
doing
use
that.
the word hell, which comes from the word Hades. So again, that doesn't make it any more correct.
Yeah, but the Greek mythologists also believe in Hades. So why are you putting that in your book?
Because if you use the word Hades or hell to refer to the same thing, it makes no difference.
No, it does make. Words are really important. I'll tell you why words are really important.
It doesn't.
They are really important.
Okay, so where does the word hell come from?
We say nar, we say jahim, we say jahannam. We don't know
So
these words.
is hell a pagan word?
What do you mean?
Is hell a pagan word?
Quran doesn't say the word hell.
Well, it comes from Hades, so it has to be
Yeah,
pagan
but
by
Quran
default.
says the word hell.
Okay, it says some random Arabic word that basically is translated to hell.
It's an Arabic word.
Okay, that's
It's
taken
an
from
Arabic
Hebrew.
word. It's not taken from. It's an
It
Arabic
is.
word.
And then,
Either way, bro, that is not a perfect book that you should be following to get close to God.
so fear not,
Because that's
I am
paganism.
the first and I am the last, the living one. Who is the first and the last in your religion?
By the way, in our religion, Isa dies. Not now, but he dies.
Who's the first and the last in
Okay,
your
but can I
religion?
just finish? In our religion, Isa dies.
Well, yeah, Allah killed him. I know,
No,
yes.
the doesn't kill him.
Allah does kill him.
Isa doesn't kill him.
Allah does kill him.
Yeah, kill.
Allah takes him up to him, right? How
No, he's
how
alive
can you?
at that point.
Huh?
Taking up to him, he's still alive.
How can you go to heaven and be alive in a human body? So in a human body, you have needs to go to the toilet and eat and drink, like the Quran reminds you. So how can Isa be in heaven right now if he's still a human being?
Yeah, but because Allah allowed that to happen.
Where does it say that
And,
anywhere?
by the way, he doesn't die when he's going up to heaven.
What?
He dies later on. He dies when he
Allah
comes back.
Allah takes him as a spirit into heaven.
Yeah, to heaven. We're exhausting the conversation, but anyways, I'm telling you,
Oh,
you know,
okay,
follow
okay.
a book.
Siraj, stop looking for trouble. Siraj, calm down, Siraj. Stop looking for trouble. Sorry.
Basically, to summarize, don't follow a book that is similar to paganism. Don't follow a concept of ibadah that you're worshipping a person because you think you're imperfect. Then you are enough to get to Allah. That's what I'll tell you.
Then that means Allah isn't perfect then.
No,
So
it doesn't.
I don't want to say God isn't perfect. But right here, Jesus Christ is saying of himself that he is the first and the last. And Allah says that later. So that would mean that Jesus Christ had a name that Allah is not using.
Jesus and Jesus Christ and Jesus, when you say Jesus, you're thinking of God. I say Isa alayhi salam, and I say what Isa said as to what is told us in the
So
Quran.
this is why I'm telling you that Isa barely says anything in the Quran, really. You don't even have 2 minutes of content for what he said in the
He does
Quran.
say, there's a lot about Isa.
He barely says anything.
There is. Isn't
All you have is him.
There's more than about Muhammad speaking himself.
Huh?
There's more of Isa speaking himself than Muhammad speaking himself.
Sure thing. But then you have the
Like,
entire.
your argument doesn't make sense.
No, my argument isn't saying that Isa speaks more or less than Muhammad. My argument is that if you're relying on the Quran to know who Jesus Christ is,
Yeah.
then you're failing
It's
very,
enough,
very badly.
Because the Quran.
It's not enough.
Okay, how is it not enough?
Because-
For me, I'd rather learn the Quran than a book that has tashabbuh, similarities to paganism. Like, I can't read something and say, oh, Hades, okay, let me not try get into Hades. And then you got pagan Greeks saying,
So,
yeah, let me avoid Hades. where
one
there's
second ago-
three-headed dog and da-da-da and da.
So one
Your
second
religion
ago,
is basically following paganism.
right. So because a word in Greek is used, right, to describe a concept in the Bible,
Okay.
you're now
Let me
telling
give
me.
you a specific
So
example.
you know how before when we were talking, you told
It's
me
not
that I was
just words.
focusing
It's not just
on
words.
what the
You know why it's
sin
not just
that
words?
David was doing,
Yeah, but you know why it's
and then
not
you
just
brushed over it completely.
You know why it's-
I am saying it's just a word.
You know why it's not just words? The Greek tradition itself that was highly paganistic influenced Christian traditions that we see today. For example, Christmas. Directly from the Greeks.
Christmas doesn't come from the Greeks.
I'm speaking history.
It comes from the Germanic tribes, first of all. So you messed that one up.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
It does. It comes from the Germanic tribes, first of all, who were Christianized in the 300s, right? And then secondly, there's various historical events, particularly in the European context, that occur during the time of Christmas. Like, for example, in the 800s, Charlemagne the Great was anointed Holy Roman Empire on Christmas Day. So as a result, that day is commemorated as, number one, the birth of Christ, but it also incorporates, it also comes in place of a number of traditions at that same time.
Today, right now, all of my friends are Muslim, but at time, I do a lot of friends that are Christian. When I spoke to them, some of them don't even celebrate Christmas because they know they themselves.
You
said
can celebrate
that
it,
it's a
not for
pagan.
Santa,
yeah,
but for Christ.
So they themselves said that it's a pagan.
So as a kid,
religion.
I grew up in Nigeria, and every Christmas we always went to the church, did nativity plays, and then we ate and praised God.
Yeah, but the Christians themselves told me, I believe this is a pagan
Because
it has pagan
they're
origins.
talking about the consumerist part of it.
No, because of the origins. Because it was a ruler.
They don't know
that-
the origins.
This is history. Like if you just go on Wikipedia, Christmas,
Right.
and you go to origins,
Right.
you're gonna see that it was a ruler who wanted to concede to the pagan. It's some pagan followers who had their
Who was the
winter
ruler?
solace. I don't know the exact ruler, but I don't focus on the actions of
You're
pagans.
incorrect, my guy.
I don't focus on
I'm
the
sorry,
actions of
but you're
pagans.
incorrect. You're
Okay,
very
well, look
incorrect.
it up after this.
Right? I have looked this up, and I told you it is simply number one, commemorating the birth of Christ.
Was Jesus born on
because
the 25th
this is
of December?
Again, it is not asking for the exact date. For example, you have no idea when the very first Ramadan was, right? But you commemorate every single Ramadan day from the first one. We have no idea when it happens.
That's not the same argument.
It is the same argument, right? Because effectively, everything that you do, at least like your sheikhs and ulamas do, in terms of telling you exactly when Ramadan should occur, is based off of the very first
similarity isn't
initial one.
Ramadan, it's about
But you have
multiple
no idea when the first one was.
The similarity
So therefore,
isn't
you're
Christmas
basically
and Ramadan.
making up when it should occur.
No, the similarity isn't a Christmas.
Not
and
to
Ramadan.
mention that Ramadan was already being practiced by the pagans. In fact, in the story in Bukhari, it would tell you that Muhammad was in the cave because every Ramadan, the pagans would dance around the Kaaba and he would seclude himself away.
Every action that Muslims do according to the Prophet's Sunnah, and the Sunnah is directly the idea behind the Sunnah is directly to contradict the actions of the pagans in everything.
By copying them
In
exactly.
everything. No, in not doing that. In everything.
It just copies them all.
No.
The point is, Ramadan doesn't have a date. In any of the sunnahs, doesn't have a date.
But that's
Doesn't have
not
a date when the
this
first
isn't
one- that's
a
it.
primary issue.
That was just a
Like the
question.
primary issue is I was saying Christianity has a lot of practices that are similar to paganism.
No, but you asked about, you said Christmas, he's asking about
Ramadan
Ramadan.
is fasting sincerely for Allah. That has nothing to do with what pagans do.
And
Doesn't have
Christmas
nothing-
is about remembering the birth of Christ.
Yeah, but
And that's what all pagans do.
that's
And not all Christians celebrate Christmas.
I know a lot of Christians that don't say
No, all of them do. So I mean, you can't throw them all in the same category.
Yeah, but it's not.
But
it's
nonetheless, he asked you a question.
By the
about
way,
Ramadan.
also, yeah, the point I'm saying is, pagans put intermediaries between them and God.
We don't believe in an intermediary.
He just said, come to me and
But
I'll
that
come to you.
intermediary is God himself.
God is one.
You understand that?
God isn't one
You
and
know
a
Christians
son.
believe that Jesus is God. You know that.
Yes, but
Yes
I'm
or
saying-
no?
All I know that, but I'm
Okay,
telling
so
you.
what is
Okay,
the
let's just use
argument?
logic then. I'll tell you logic. How can,
Logic, huh? Okay.
Logic.
Alright.
How can a man be God? How can a creation be God?
By
How
God
can somebody
taking
who
on
is
the
born
flesh
be God?
of a man. That's
how
not
can
how.
somebody who prays be God?
I'll answer that
How
question
can
with a
somebody
question.
who
Let me-
has-
Okay, I'll answer
who's
that question with
lived
a question.
and is gonna die?
How can God create?
What do you mean? God creates.
How?
He creates.
How did he do it?
He creates.
How?
Describe the
explain it.
process,
What
please.
do you mean?
Describe the
How do
process
you
of
create?
creation.
Explain how creation
Yeah.
He
works.
just says he just creates.
Okay.
just creates. How?
In that same way, he just can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
No. He just can become a man.
He can
just
become a man.
Yeah, he just can.
Okay, but is that God?
Yep.
doesn't the Quran say something about God, Allah can become something or be something?
Well, the Quran says a few interesting things. From my take on it, Surah 43, verse 61, it says that if Allah had a son, that you would have to worship him. So implying that they are affirming Christian
It also
theology
says God
that
doesn't have a son.
the only son, but if he did, you have to, right? Therefore, if God does have a son, if Christians hold and have held for half a millennia before Islam ever came that he had a son, therefore we ever have to worship him. And to make it even better, in Surah 355, it tells us that the followers of Isa will be superior to everybody else until the day of judgment. So who are the followers of Isa? We are.
Yeah, you don't follow Isa because Isa never said,
But
"I-
you guys don't either, because
I follow
technically,
Isa because Isa prays.
yeah, but
And we pray.
It-
And he prays to Allah, we pray to Allah.
okay, but
That's it. Alhamdulillah,
if you
we pray
follow Isa, you don't know anything about him, unfortunately. You can't talk to me about Isa for 2 minutes. You can't. There's literally 7 things about him in the Quran. That's about it, or 12 things I think. That's about it.
There's Surah Maryam.
Yeah, but there's no lessons. There's no
Surah
teachings.
Maryam, Surah Ma'idah, Surah Al
But
Imran.
there's none of him talking extensively. Nothing.
It does, it's teaching.
What did he teach? Tell me one thing. One thing.
What do you mean?
Tell me one thing Christ taught from the Quran. One thing.
إنني أنا الله أتاني الكتاب
That's not a lesson.
جعلني نبيا
That's not a lesson.
جعلني مباركا أينما
That's not a lesson.
وأوحاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا.
Not a lesson.
He commanded me with prayer and zakah as long as I'm alive. That is a lesson.
That's not a lesson.
Prayer and zakah.
That's a proclamation. That's not a lesson.
So Jesus taught to pray. It's time to pray.
Okay.
I'm going to follow Jesus and pray.
What I mean by this? Okay, that's fine. You can go back on that later. Sure.